Listen to me for a second. Because before this world steals another minute of your life, you need to hear this truth with every part of your soul. You're not losing because you're weak. You're losing because everything around you is designed to break your focus, drain your spirit, and distract you from the greatness that scares even you. Every screen, every notification, every trend is a trap dressed as entertainment. And while you're scrolling, something inside you is starving, something powerful, something legendary, something that was supposed to change your life, but can't, because you keep feeding your attention to things that give you nothing back. The world you're living in isn't neutral. It's hunting your mind. It's pulling you away from your purpose, away from your dreams, away from your own damn identity. And the saddest part, most people don't even realize they're trapped. They think they're choosing entertainment, but entertainment is choosing them. But not you. Not anymore. Because today, you're about to hear the truth that breaks chains. The truth that wakes the warrior in your chest. The truth that reminds you your focus was never lost. It was stolen. And now it's time to take it back. You ever stop and wonder why your mind feels like it's always fighting a war you never signed up for? Why you wake up already tired, already pulled, already distracted? It's because the world you're living in ain't built for your focus. It's built to take it. Every swipe you make, every scroll, every tap, there's a machine behind it studying you like you're the experiment. You think you're choosing what to watch. But most of the time, what you're watching is choosing you. There are people, real people with cold hearts and warm pockets, sitting in rooms full of screens, trying to figure out how to make you stare a little longer, tap a little faster, get addicted a little deeper. And before you know it, your day belongs to them, not you. We used to fight battles outside. Now the battlefield is inside your pocket. The enemy ain't wearing armor. It's wearing an app icon. But it's smart. It doesn't attack you with fear. It attacks you with comfort. It doesn't break you with pain. It breaks you with pleasure. It gives you endless entertainment until you forget about the life you were supposed to build. It gives you validation until you forget about the purpose you were born with. It gives you noise until you can't even hear your own thoughts anymore. You weren't created to be a puppet. But in this age, pulling the strings is easier than ever. You know what's crazy? Most people don't even realize it's happening. They laugh at it, joke about being addicted to their phones, make memes, talk about just checking something real quick. But they don't see how fast quick becomes an hour, then two, then half the day gone. You ever open your phone for one thing and suddenly you're lost in a world that has nothing to do with you? You ever wonder how you ended up watching videos you never searched for? That's not coincidence. That's engineering. There are entire corporations with supercomputers built to predict you better than you understand yourself. They know the exact second your attention slips. They know when to send you a notification. They know which kind of face keeps you watching, which type of argument fires you up, which type of joke makes you stay a minute longer. They turn your human instincts into data points and your time into profit. And if you don't protect your mind in this era, someone else will own it for you. In 2025, attention is the new gold mine, but you're the gold. And what hurts the most is knowing that while they're getting richer from your focus, you're getting poorer in your spirit. Every minute you lose to the trap is a minute stolen from your dreams. Every hour you spend scrolling in is an hour you could have spent building, learning, healing, growing, fighting for your future. Your goals aren't dying because they're impossible. They're dying because they're buried under distractions. I know people who used to be artists, writers, thinkers, leaders. Now they're just spectators in the circus of digital chaos. They're not living, they're watching life happen to others. And the saddest part, they call it normal. But being drained before noon ain't normal. Feeling anxious without your phone ain't normal. Forgetting your ideas because the algorithm threw 100 new ones at you ain't normal. You're not broken. You're overwhelmed. You're not lazy. You're targeted. You're not weak. You're being weakened. But the moment you recognize the game changes. Once you see the chains, you can start breaking them. Because the truth is powerful. The digital world doesn't just want your attention, It wants your identity. And the moment you take your attention back, you take your power back. Because in a world built to distract you, focus becomes rebellion. And you were born to rebel against anything that tries to dim your fire. You ever notice how sometimes you avoid your dreams more than you avoid your problems? It's wild, but it's real. Most people aren't running from failure, they're running from the responsibility of success. Sounds crazy, but think about it. Success demands discipline, sacrifice, truth, accountability. Failure's easy. You fall, you cry a little, you blame the world, you go back to scrolling, back to drifting, back to the comfort of not being enough. Because at least the world doesn't expect anything from you there. But your greatness, that's a whole different kind of pressure. That requires you to show up every single day like your life means something. A lot of people hide in distraction because facing their potential feels too heavy. They feel the weight of what they could be, and instead of rising to it, they numb themselves. They drown their greatness in endless entertainment, empty conversations, and cheap validation. It's like standing in front of a mirror that shows not who you are, but who you were meant to become. And instead of stepping into that version, you look away because becoming them requires becoming someone stronger than your comfort zone. I met a brother once, talented, brilliant, creative. He had ideas that could have changed his whole family's destiny. But when we talked about why he wasn't doing anything with his gifts, he didn't talk about lack of opportunities or lack of time. He talked about fear, not fear of losing, fear of stepping into a life where excuses couldn't exist anymore. He was scared of being powerful because being powerful means you can't lie to yourself. You can't hide behind summer day. You can't blame the system, your environment, your past. You have to take ownership. And ownership is harder than failure. But that's why so many people let their dreams rot. It's easier to binge content than it is to build something. It's easier to live inside someone else's life than create your own. So you run to your phone like it's shelter. You hide in the glow of a screen because the glow inside you feels too intimidating. But you're not avoiding the world. You're avoiding your gifts. You're avoiding the version of yourself that knows exactly what you're capable of. Every time you start something meaningful, something that could elevate you, you suddenly get tired. You suddenly need a break. You suddenly feel overwhelmed. That's not exhaustion. That's resistance. That's your old life pulling you back, whispering, stay here, stay comfortable, stay the same. Because growth demands a death. The death of your lazy habits. The death of your excuses. The death of your fear. And death is always uncomfortable. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing you can fly, but terrified of falling. But what people forget is this: you're falling either way. If you jump, you fall into purpose. If you stay, you fall into regret. The difference is what you land on. People fear success because success exposes you. It shows you your real power. It forces you to stop pretending. And deep down, you know you're not meant to be average. You know you're not meant to live unnoticed. You know you weren't born to be another digital zombie buried in notifications, trends, and celebrity drama. But the higher your calling, the louder your distractions become. Call it spiritual warfare, mental warfare, generational warfare. Whatever it is, it's real. That's why you escape your greatness behind your phone. Behind your I'll start tomorrow. Behind your I'm not ready yet. Behind your I need more motivation. But you don't need motivation. You need courage. You need to face the truth. Your dream isn't waiting for the perfect moment. It's waiting for the real you. Your distraction isn't just entertainment, it's avoidance. It's fear wearing the mask of fun. But the moment you stop running from your future self, you realize something powerful. You were never afraid of the climb. You were afraid of reaching the top and finally seeing how unstoppable you always were. You ever realize how your environment is shaping you even when you swear you're too strong to be influenced? It's quiet, subtle, sneaky. Like a whisper that becomes your voice without you even noticing. People think focus is a personal issue, like something you fight alone in your mind. But the truth is your surroundings play a bigger role in who you become than most people want to admit. You are breathing in the energy of your environment every single day. And whether you rise or crumble has a lot to do with what you're surrounded by. There are people living in houses filled with tension, negativity, arguments, gossip, chaos, and they wonder why their dreams feel heavy. They wonder why they can't think straight. They wonder why they can't stay motivated. But how can you focus when the air around you is poisoned by doubt and distraction? How can you grow when everyone around you lives small and thinks small? You become what you see. You absorb what you hear. You reflect what you're surrounded by. That's human psychology, not weakness. I knew a kid once with wild potential, a mind full of ideas, a heart full of ambition. But every time he tried to level up, his friends pulled him back. Not maliciously, just naturally. They weren't focused, so they didn't want him focused. They weren't chasing anything, so they didn't want him chasing anything. And they loved him, but they loved him small. That's the danger of the wrong environment. It doesn't always attack you. Sometimes it hugs you in the wrong direction. He'd sit with them day after day talking about nothing, scrolling through memes, arguing about celebrities, comparing girls, bragging about shoes he couldn't afford. And slowly, he lost himself. Not because he was weak, but because he was outnumbered. The pressure of average is stronger than the desire to be great if you stay in it long enough. Your surroundings don't just influence you, they program you. If you're around fearful people, you adopt fear. Around dreamers, you adopt ambition. Around hustlers, you adopt action. Around complainers, you adopt excuses. You might think you're independent, you might think you're in control, but your mind absorbs energy like lungs absorb air. And if the air is polluted, you will suffocate slowly. The digital environment matters just as much. Think about it, you spend more time in the world of your phone than in the world outside. That means your digital neighborhood, the creators you watch, the pages you follow, the voices you listen to are shaping your destiny. If all you follow are drama pages, you'll become dramatic. If all you follow are flexers, you'll become insecure. If all you follow are comedians, you'll become distracted. If all you follow are people living fake perfect lives, you'll become self-conscious and restless. But if you follow purpose-driven people, you'll feel called to rise. If you fill your feed with education, discipline, art, and greatness, your mind will mirror it. That's the power of environment. It redefines your normal. And once your normal shifts, your life shifts. I've seen people change dramatically just by changing their circles. Not because they suddenly became smarter or stronger, but because their environment stopped suffocating them. When you're surrounded by growth, growth becomes natural. When you're surrounded by laziness, laziness becomes comfortable. You are not better than your surroundings. You are shaped by them. People underestimate this truth because it sounds too simple. They think success is only about hard work. But hard work in the wrong environment becomes wasted energy. It's like planting a seed in concrete. It doesn't matter how much light it gets. It won't grow there. You have to put your ambition in soil that supports it. You have to protect your mind like it's sacred, because it is. If you don't choose your environment wisely, it will choose your future for you. And the scariest part, you won't even notice the damage until years have passed and the person staring back in the mirror is unrecognizable. Not because you changed, but because everything around you molded you into someone you never meant to be. You ever notice how easy it is to get lost when you don't know where you're going? How the smallest distraction becomes the biggest detour when you're walking without direction. That's how most people live now, moving, breathing, scrolling, reacting, but not aiming, not choosing. Just drifting like a leaf in a storm, hoping life will somehow place them where they wish to be. But life don't work like that. The world don't carry you to purpose. You walk there. And you can't walk there if you don't even know the destination. People think they're unfocused because they lack discipline. Truth is, most people are unfocused because they lack vision. If you don't know what you want, everything will feel attractive. Everything will feel urgent. Everything will feel like maybe it's the right path. The world is loud, and if you don't silence it with clarity, it will drown you in confusion. There's a kind of pain that comes from not knowing your own mission. It's subtle at first, a little restlessness, a little anxiety. But over time, it becomes a heavy emptiness. You wake up and feel disconnected from yourself, like you're living on autopilot, like you're alive but not really living. And you start wondering why. But the answer is simple. When your soul doesn't have a purpose, your mind becomes a playground for distractions. I knew a woman once who wanted to change her life so badly. Every year she made promises, new habits, new goals, new routines, but nothing ever stuck. She'd get motivated for a week, then fall off. She kept thinking she was lazy, but laziness wasn't the problem. Confusion was. She never stopped long enough to define what she truly wanted. She had no picture of her future, only blurry ideas. And blurry ideas can't guide you through a sharp world. That's what happens to people today. They think they have goals, but they really have wishes. Wishes are vague. Goals are specific. Wishes are emotional. Goals are intentional. Wishes float. Goals direct. Without a clear vision, your mind becomes vulnerable. Every trend pulls you. Every opinion influences you. Every notification interrupts you. You become available to everything and committed to nothing. Research shows that writing down your goals makes you 10 times more likely to achieve them. 10 times. Not because writing is magic, but because clarity is. When you decide exactly who you want to be, your brain starts filtering the world through that lens. Distractions lose their shine. Temptations lose their grip. Noise loses its influence. But clarity requires honesty, the kind of honesty most people avoid. You got to ask yourself the real questions. What do I want my life to look like in 5 years? What kind of person do I want to become? What habits align with that person? What habits destroy that person? What are the things I'm pretending I don't care about because I'm afraid I won't reach them? These questions hurt because they demand truth. Because once you know what you want, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. Once you have a vision, you can't pretend distractions don't matter. You can't blame your circumstances. You can't call yourself unlucky. You're either moving toward your vision or running from it. Your vision is your compass. Without it, you'll chase every temporary feeling, every shiny trend, every moment of instant gratification. You'll keep restarting your life because you never truly started it in the first place. But when your vision becomes real, like some of you can see, touch, breathe, you stop running in circles, you stop reacting, you start choosing, you start building, you start building, you start living. And that's when your life changes, when focus stops being a struggle and becomes a force. When purpose becomes more powerful than distractions. When you stop wandering and start walking with intention. Because a clear vision doesn't just guide you, it frees you. It frees you from confusion, from comparison, from doubt, from anything that doesn't align with the person you were always meant to become. You ever feel tired, even when you've done nothing all day, like your body isn't exhausted, but your mind feels like it's been fighting a war you can't see? That's the kind of fatigue this generation doesn't talk about. It's not physical exhaustion. It's mental overload. It's what happens when your brain is forced to process more information in a single day than your grandparents processed in a month. And you wonder why you can't focus. You wonder why you feel drained. You wonder why simple things feel heavy. It's because your mind is drowning in noise. There's a weight that comes from being overstimulated. Your brain wasn't built to handle thousands of images, videos, opinions, jokes, tragedies, arguments, success stories, and perfect lives every single day. Every swipe is a new emotion. Every post is a new comparison. Every notification is a new interruption. Your mind is jumping from topic to topic so fast it barely has time to breathe. And breathing isn't optional, it's survival. I've seen people who never worked a real job in months still feel burnt out. Not because they're lazy, but because their mental capacity is being drained by constant stimulation. It's like trying to drive a car with the gas pedal pressed down all day. Even if you're not going anywhere, the engine overheats. In the same way, even when you're sitting still staring at your phone, your mind is running at full speed behind the scenes. Scientists call it attention residue. That thing where part of your brain stays stuck on the last thing you looked at. So even when you put your phone down, your mind is still scrolling. Your thoughts are still flickering like the videos you just watched. Your focus tries to start fresh, but your mind is still carrying the leftovers of everything it just absorbed. And that's why you feel unmotivated, not because you lack ambition, but because you lack mental space. I knew a young woman who wanted to start her own business. She had the talent, the vision, the passion. But every time she sat down to work, her mind felt scattered. She'd stare at her laptop for 10 minutes, then reach for her phone, then check her messages, then bounce to some video, then lose half an hour without even noticing. And she kept telling herself she was unproductive. But what she was really experiencing was mental exhaustion. Her mind wasn't lazy, it was overloaded. That's what constant digital stimulation does. It numbs you, it drains you, it steals the energy you were supposed to use for your future. You're not burned out because you work too hard. You're burned out because you never gave your thoughts room to rest. And when your mind is tired, discipline crumbles. When your mind is tired, willpower disappears. When your mind is tired, doubt grows louder, insecurities hit harder, and motivation becomes a stranger you only meet once in a while. But most people don't recognize this type of exhaustion because it doesn't look like tiredness. It looks like procrastination. It looks like inconsistency. It looks like scrolling for 2 hours without realizing it. It looks like telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow for the 10th time this month. You think your problem is laziness, but it's actually depletion. You're pouring from a cup that's been empty for years. And the saddest part, you blame yourself. You call yourself weak, unfocused, unmotivated, even though the truth is you're carrying stress your brain was never meant to hold. You're not broken. You're overwhelmed. You're not incapable. You're overloaded. You're not deficient. You're drained. Your mind needs rest, real rest, not zoning out on a screen, not escaping into noise. Rest where your thoughts can breathe, your emotions can settle, your soul can reset. Because once your mind finds peace, your focus becomes powerful again. And once your focus returns, your life follows. You ever open your phone and feel your entire mood shift in seconds? One moment you're fine, and the next you're comparing yourself to somebody you don't even know. Someone who looks happier, richer, prettier, more successful, more loved. Someone whose life looks so perfect it makes you question your own worth. That's the silent poison of this generation. Comparison. It's the thief that doesn't break in through the door. It walks right through the screen you opened yourself. People don't talk about how damaging it is to constantly feel like you're behind, because that's what comparison does. It makes you believe there's a timeline you're supposed to follow. It makes you think you should be doing more, having more, achieving more, smiling more, shining more. Right now. And when you're not, you feel like you're failing, but you're not failing. You're overwhelmed by illusions. Social media turned life into a competition no one agreed to join. Everyone is editing their wins and hiding their wounds. They show you the highlight reel and bury the heartbreak. They show you the celebration and hide the struggle. They show you the victory and erase the journey. And you compare your raw, unfiltered reality to their polished, filtered fantasy. And it's not fair. Not to them, and definitely not to you. I once talked to a girl with millions of followers. Her pictures were flawless. Her life seemed glamorous. Her comments were full of love, admiration, envy. But behind closed doors, she was breaking. She told me she felt trapped in her own image. She felt pressure to be perfect all the time. She said every time she posted a photo, her heart raced, not out of excitement, but fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of losing validation. She was living for the applause, but dying from the pressure. And the craziest part, thousands of people were comparing themselves to her, wishing for her life, while she couldn't even enjoy it. That's the truth, people. Forget, nobody posts their sleepless nights, their panic attacks, their heartbreaks, their failures, their insecurities. Nobody shows you the arguments behind closed doors, the depression behind the smile, the tears after the party, the loneliness after the pictures. You don't see the fight, only the facade. And because of that, comparison becomes a silent killer. It kills confidence. It kills gratitude. It kills joy. It kills self-belief. You start measuring your worth with rulers that were never meant for you. You start doubting your journey because someone else seems ahead. You start rushing your growth because someone else bloomed earlier. But a flower doesn't look at another flower and question its own petals. It grows in its own time. It blooms when it's meant to. Your journey is not supposed to match anyone else's. Your struggle is not supposed to look like their success. You have your own pace, your own purpose, your own path, and comparison blinds you to that. It makes you forget how far you've come because you're too busy staring at where someone else is. You ever notice how the more you compare, the less confident you feel? That's because comparison isolates you from your truth. It convinces you that you're not enough. But you are enough. You've always been enough. You just forgot because you've been staring at too many screens that were designed to make you feel less. So you'd keep chasing more. And the saddest part, people lose themselves trying to keep up with lives that aren't even real. They destroy their peace trying to maintain a standard that was never theirs. They abandon their authenticity just to impress people who will forget them in a week. Comparison is a prison with invisible bars. And most people don't escape because they don't even realize they're locked inside. But the moment you stop comparing, something powerful happens. You remember who you are. You remember your worth. You remember your story. And for the first time in a long time, you breathe. There comes a point when you have to stop pretending everything is fine and admit the truth. Your life isn't slipping away because you're cursed or unlucky or unworthy. It's slipping because you're unfocused. And in a world built to distract you, the greatest rebellion you can commit is taking your focus back, taking your mind back, taking your time back, because every minute you spend unfocused is a minute you'll never get again. Time don't refund itself. Dreams don't chase you back. And opportunities don't wait outside your door forever. You gotta understand something. Focus isn't some fancy skill only gifted people have. It's a muscle. And right now, most people's mental muscles are weak because they've been lifting distractions instead of discipline. They've been training their mind to crave instant pleasure instead of long-term progress. They've been feeding their attention to apps like it's candy, not realizing the sugar crash hits their future, not their phone. I knew a dude once who told me he was fighting for his dreams, but the only thing he fought was boredom. The moment something required effort, he backed out. The moment something required silence, he ran to noise. He wanted success with the same mindset that kept him average. And the truth is, you can't have both. You can't live in distractions and expect a focused life. You can't scroll your way into purpose. You can't watch other people's dreams and expect yours to magically show up. And that's the part nobody wants to admit. Focus hurts at first. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It forces you to confront yourself. It forces you to choose growth over comfort, discipline over dopamine, purpose over pleasure. It's not glamorous. No one claps for you when you put your phone away. No one celebrates you when you stay home to work on your goals. Nobody sees you deleting apps that steal your mind. Nobody knows about the quiet battles you fight at 2 a.m. trying to break habits that have owned you for years. But that's where the real transformation happens, not in the spotlight, not in the applause. It happens in the moments no one sees. It happens when you choose your future instead of your impulses. It happens when you decide that your mind is too precious to waste on things that give you nothing back. And sometimes reclaiming your focus is as simple as creating boundaries. Not for others, for yourself. Like putting your phone in another room when you work. Like giving your morning to your purpose before giving it to the world. Like protecting your peace like it's the last sacred thing you have. Like saying no to anything that drains you more than it feeds you. Because once you start protecting your focus, you start protecting your destiny. When you cut off distractions, something beautiful happens. You hear yourself again. You hear your thoughts, your ideas, your intuition, your truth. The world stops shouting and your soul finally gets a voice. And that voice, that's the voice that leads you to greatness. That's the voice that tells you who you really are. That's the voice that reminds you of everything you're capable of if you stop letting the world interrupt you. People think the enemy is failure, but the real enemy is distraction. Failure teaches you. Distraction delays you. Failure builds character. Distraction kills potential. Failure forces growth. Distraction freezes your life in place. Most people don't lose their dreams. They forget them in the noise. They lose them in mindless scrolling. They bury them under other people's opinions. They sacrifice them to trends Gossip, drama, escapism, and endless entertainment. But the moment you reclaim your focus, you reclaim your power. Because a focused mind is dangerous. A focused mind is unstoppable. A focused mind can rebuild a life from nothing. You want to change your life. You don't need more time, more followers, more luck, more support. You need more focus. And once you lock in, truly lock in, everything else bows to your discipline. Every door that was closed starts cracking open. Every doubt that haunted you starts losing its voice. Every fear that held you back starts shrinking. Because the moment you take control of your mind, the world loses control of you. You've heard the truth now. Not the sugar-coated version people post online, not the motivational quotes that fade in an hour, but the truth that lives in the cracks of your soul. The truth that stares back at you when the room is quiet and the screens are off. The truth that whispers, you were made for more than this. Everything we talked about, distraction, exhaustion, comparison, confusion, fear, environment, digital traps, it all leads to one point: you are fighting a war inside your own mind, and the only way out is to wake up. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Because life doesn't pause until you're ready. Dreams don't wait at the door. Time doesn't negotiate. Every second you're alive is a chance to reclaim yourself, to rebuild yourself, to rise from the ashes of your old habits and step into the future that was calling your name long before you ever believed in it. You are not losing because you're weak. You're losing because somewhere along the line, the world taught you to forget who you are. It taught you to chase illusions instead of purpose. It taught you to run from your greatness instead of toward it. But forgetting isn't the same as losing. You can recover what you lost. You can rebuild what was broken. You can rise even if you've fallen 1,000 times. You can choose yourself again. You can choose your vision again. You can choose your focus again. And when you do, everything changes. The noise becomes background. The doubts become whispers. The distractions lose their shine. Your calling becomes louder. Your spirit becomes stronger. Your energy becomes different. You start walking like you've got somewhere to be. You start speaking like you know who you are. You start thinking like someone who refuses to be owned by anything, whether it's a screen, a system, a trend, or a lie. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care how long you've been stuck. I don't care how many times you failed or how many times you gave up. There's still fight in you. There's still brilliance in you. There's still fire in you. You didn't survive everything you survived just to settle for a life that doesn't reflect your soul. You're bigger than that, stronger than that, deeper than that. And whether you realize it or not, you're needed. Your voice is needed. Your purpose is needed. Your presence is needed. This world is darker without the real you in it. So take back your mind, take back your strength, take back your days, your nights, your focus, your future. Stop letting the world distract you from the person you were born to become. Stand tall, stand firm, stand awake, because once you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your destiny. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for giving me your time, your mind, and your heart in this moment. May your focus return, may your purpose rise, and may your life unfold into everything you always knew it could be. Go become the version of yourself that your younger self would look at and say, "We made it."